Man, it feels good to have slashers back again. Feels so good. What's up, all you beautiful people? Today we're going to be talking about a movie called Heart Eyes, which is directed by Josh Rubin. It is the newest slasher in this, hopefully, what's going to be the new slasher craze, because we've been getting a ton of them the last couple years. We've got, Thanksgiving, Founders Day, now Hard Eyes. I know I'm missing some for sure. Terrifier, Scream, and I think really the Halloween movies, like the Halloween 2018, kind of kicked off this motion as this resurgence for these slashers, and I'm so thankful for that because these, as much as movies as I do love and enjoy, these are the type of movies that I just have so much fun with, and these type of movies are just made for me. For me, I especially love slashers that are set on a specific holiday. I think those are so much fun. You could do so much depending on what the holiday is, like especially with the kills. And with this one's centered around Valentine's Day, and we don't have a ton of Valentine's Day slashers. We have some, but not a lot. Of course, there's My Bloody Valentine, and of course Valentine, which I know a lot of people is not huge on Valentine, but I just have a lot of fun with that movie. Like movies like that, like I said, are just right up my alley. So Hard Eyes tells the story about this serial killer that they've called the Hard Eyes Killer, who for the last several years has stalked and killed couples on Valentine's Day. This movie's got a pretty good cast. You got Mason Gooding and Olivia Holt, Jordana Brewster, and of course the amazing Devon Sawa, who I'm just happy to see back in a movie like this. I miss seeing Devon Sawa, so I'm always happy when he is back in anything, especially movies like this, because I met him at Mad Monster two years ago. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago, and he was so nice, like such a nice dude. Talked about of course, like the classics, Final Destination and Idle Hands, and I got to talk to him about Black Friday, which if nobody's seen that movie, that's just an awesome little movie. If you've worked retail, and it's just perfect to watch around Thanksgiving. But what I do really enjoy about this movie that it feels a little bit different is there's a lot of humor in it, just like with Companion that I talked about last week. It follows that element of Scream. I know this movie will probably get compared a lot to Scream, and I totally understand. I think a lot of the same team from Scream is a part of this movie, whether it be producers or something like that. And there is a lot of that meta humor in it, especially when it comes to the detectives' names and all that stuff and how it references other things, and it works really well in this. It's not as well executed as something like Scream. I think they pull it off really well because I actually found myself laughing through a good majority of this because some of the stuff they set up with the jokes, I just think it lands pretty good. But I think it's kind of cool in this movie how this movie really feels like at its core and at its base of the movie, it was this rom com. Like it was written as a rom com, and they threw this slasher element into it that's almost just needle threaded perfect throughout it. With most slashers, I know a lot of the times the characters are set up as, just cannon fodder, like the characters are just strictly there to be killed. And don't get me wrong, there are some characters in this movie that are set up just for that. But the two leads between Jay and Allie, I think the two of them, you get to know them enough to where you do care, where you are kind of rooting for them. I mean, there's still a lot of their stories that's not explored, but that's typical for a slasher or any kind of movie like this because it's a classic just hour and a half runtime, which is just perfect for a movie like this. I think it gives us just enough to where we do latch on to these characters, to where we want to see them make it out. We want to see what's going to happen with them. Where unlike other movies, we're just like, yeah, we don't care about any of these characters, so just kill them off, and we're rooting for the killer. I do think the look of the killer is awesome. I think like his mask and his whole setup and the eyes and everything that lights up and all that. I think that's a really cool element. And this is such a neat character that I can easily see them making a franchise out of this, if not a sequel. But I know it's would be kind of difficult because it's set strictly for Valentine's Day, so it would be kind of hard to not repeat yourself and do the same things over and over again. But I think the look, the pure look of this killer is just awesome. I think they nailed it with the costumes and all that. As for the kills, there are some pretty gruesome, gory kills in here, not as much as I would have liked. There's a lot of the same things that I know a lot of people complain about the Scream movies, where like he's like, oh yeah, it's just knife, 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 knife. He does use different knives and stuff in this movie, but he also uses other things as well. I don't want to spoil anything, but he also uses other things to his advantage to take people out, and some of them are pretty gnarly and they're pretty cool and well executed. I just wish we had a little bit more of that, but what we did get, I was happily entertained with. It's not full carnage candy or anything like that. It's absolutely nothing like the Terrifier movies. The gore never goes that far by any means, but it's still, I think it's a perfect mix to where if you are into slashers, you'll dig it, and if you're not really into like a bunch of blood, you'll still enjoy it. Probably like Scream and a bunch of slashers like that. I know a lot of people can easily call the reveal of the killer super early on. Thankfully, again, like I've talked about in previous videos, I'm just not one of those people. I kind of turn my brain off with that because I want to be surprised. I want to feel the reveal and be surprised by it. And for this one, I did have one person in mind that I was like, oh, yeah, that's who I think it is. And I was wrong. So that just shows, me. Like I said before, I'm just not, I try not to go into that stuff looking for that because I want to be genuinely surprised. But some people might call it early on. Some people might figure it out. And I was just along for the ride to where I was enjoying it enough to where after I made my one guess, I was like, okay, let me try to see if that works. And it didn't. So I was like, cool. I said, now that that's out of the way for me, I can just sit back and enjoy the movie and enjoy the ride it takes me on. I also really like the fact that this movie knows what type of movie it is. It doesn't try to take itself too seriously at all, and it plays the romantic comedy stuff up so well. That's what makes it so funny. It literally feels like it's making fun of itself, which is like, again, which would be a Scream comparison with the meta stuff and all that. But I just think there's certain parts in the movie when it comes to like the dates and like the montages and the oh, he's the one but I let him go, and I have to go to run to get him back, and all that, but it's played so well. That's what makes it so funny, because it knows the type of movie it is. And I appreciate that, because there's certain movies that try to do that and they take it way too seriously and it just doesn't work. And for a tone of movie like this, it was perfect for that. Like sometimes in a lot of ways, to me, it feels like they're making fun of like the Hallmark movies, which I think was perfect, because I can't stand those movies in any way, shape, or form. So it's like it takes like classic rom-com and Hallmark movies and combines them together, and just knows how to parody that by adding this slasher element into it. And it blends it so well, and it just works so well together. And like I said, in Companion, it's very hard a lot of the times for horror comedies or anything like that to blend and mesh so well together. But so far, I'm thankful for that movie and this one. It got the tone perfectly right, and it pulled it off. To me, this movie feels like a callback to the classic, and sometimes even the classic but corny 80s and early 90s slashers. And like I said in the beginning, I love movies like that. I don't know why, but they just work so well for me. And I've seen so many at this point that they're almost like comfort food. as strange and weird as that sounds. And this is just another one that it gave me that nostalgic vibe just like those did. And this is one that I'll probably throw on and watch on Valentine's Day. Same with My Bloody Valentine and, of course, Valentine. This will be another one that I'll happily add to that collection. There was one particular part where I felt like the movie was wrapping up, and they did it in a way that they fooled me, that I was literally like, are they really ending it here? Because I was like, that is not going to work for me at all, because the way it played out, and thankfully they didn't go that way. As when you see certain things in a slasher, you're like, yeah, but is that really the case? It's the same way even in like a haunted or demonic movie or anything like that. You're like, is that really over? Is that really it? Is that how it really ends? And the way that they did this, the way they set this up, and it goes on like this rom-com type ending type thing that it's going on, or whatever you want to call it. I was like, is that really how this is going to end? And thankfully it didn't go that way. There was a whole, other part to it that came back in the fold, and I was like, okay, cool. And I really enjoyed the way it ended and wrapped up. I liked the killer reveals. Like I said, it's very Scream-ish, and I don't know, it just works for me. I really enjoy it. And like I said with Companion, this would be a perfect date movie. The Valentine's Day is literally next week, and you have technically 3 date movies that you could go to with Companion, and then you have Hard Eyes, and then Love Hurts, which is more of an action movie. But Hard Eyes and Love Hurts are both in the vein and set on Valentine's Day, and the Companion is just like a date movie where I talked about that. And if you're looking for something to do, you've got 3 perfect date movies to pick from. So by all means, go check them out. It's the same thing I said with Scream and Halloween and even Thanksgiving. I'm glad we're getting a sequel to Thanksgiving because I really enjoyed it. I hope this movie does make money because I want to see more slashers. This is a subgenre that I really miss, and it's one that I can go for anything. It doesn't matter what type of slasher it is. It could be just a normal slasher, a holiday slasher, whatever. I eat any of that up. So I hope this movie does well enough at the box office that they're like, cool, we'll do another one. But like I said earlier, it would be interesting to see how they would do another one without kind of repeating themselves to do the same thing. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. I think I just had a lot of fun with it. It's like the perfect popcorn movie. Like I said earlier, it's a perfect date movie. You can go just have a really good time. It combines the cheesy romantic rom-coms with the 80s camp horror perfectly together. And I think if you're into that type of stuff, it's just a really fun time. And if you're looking for date ideas on Valentine's Day, obviously you can go to dinner, all that stuff. And if you're looking for a movie, I would definitely say recommend this one. It's not super scary or really scary by any means. If you ask, to me, slashers aren't scary anyway. I just have too much fun with them. But they're not. It's just not scary in any means. And it's like I said, it's got that perfect blend. And whether you or your partner is into one or the other, I think the two of you will be able to get something for the both of you out of it because it blends them so well together. I hope all of you enjoyed this review. If you have seen Hard Eyes, please comment below and let me know what you thought about it. Please go check out my other 2025 reviews if you haven't yet, including my top horror movies of 2024. As for my top movies of 2024 in general, I think I'm going to put that video out the week after Valentine's Day because I'll be heading to Mad Monster that weekend. And as much as I want to see The Monkey, I'm going to try to see it that Thursday night, but I probably won't have time to shoot and edit a review for it. So I'm going to drop that weekend so there is something on the channel for you guys to check out, and I'll do a review for The Monkey as soon as I get back from Mad Monster. But please go check out Hard Eyes in the time being and just have a great, fun time at the movies. So I'll see you guys in the next one.